My younger brother picked up the handcrafted wooden box my daughter spent months creating for him. He turned it over in his hands. And with a sneer that could cut glass, he said, "Cheap, worthless garbage." Then he threw it directly at her face during his own birthday celebration. My parents stood there watching, smirking like it was the funniest thing they had ever witnessed. I did not raise my voice. I did not argue. I just smiled. You will not believe what happened next. But before we continue, if you have ever been treated like a human ATM by your own family, if you have ever given everything only to be disrespected and used, please hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you are going to want to see how this story ends. Because what I did next changed everything. My name is Victoria Hayes. I am 38 years old, a single mother, and a remote software engineer pulling in $117,000 annually. For nearly a decade, I had been the family bank. I covered my parents' rent every single month, $1,300 like clockwork. I loaned my younger brother Ethan $72,000 to launch his dream pottery business in Barrio Viejo, one of Tucson's prime tourist districts. His collateral? A 2019 BMW that he loved more than anything. For 8 long years, I played the role they wanted. The dependable older sister. The safety net. The endless source of money whenever anyone needed it. But that night, when Ethan humiliated my 15-year-old daughter Harper in front of everyone, something inside me shifted. It was not anger. It was clarity. Cold, calculated clarity. I did not cause a scene. I congratulated Ethan on his birthday, kissed my parents on the cheek, took Harper's hand, and we left quietly. 3 days later, I pulled the plug on everything. I repossessed the BMW. I stopped the rent payments. I cut off every single financial lifeline I had been providing. And I said to all of them, from this moment forward, you are completely on your own. Ethan thought I was bluffing. My parents laughed it off, convinced I would come crawling back within a week. They had no idea what was coming. Grab your popcorn, because the fallout was absolutely nuclear. Let me take you back 6 years to where this all began. Ethan walked into my modest 2-bedroom house carrying a glossy presentation folder like he had just discovered the secret to eternal wealth. He was 28 years old, fresh off yet another job that had not worked out, but his eyes sparkled with that familiar dangerous optimism. The folder was impressive, I will give him that. Full-color photographs of hand-thrown ceramic mugs, custom-designed planters with Southwest motifs, architectural sketches of a storefront in Barrio Viejo. He had done his research this time. Market analysis. Competitor pricing. Projected revenue streams. Ethan spread everything across my kitchen table while Harper colored quietly in the living room, and he launched into his pitch with the confidence of a seasoned entrepreneur. Startup capital needed, $72,000. Break-even timeline, 18 months. Profit margin projections, 30% within 2 years. He had been couch surfing for 4 months after his warehouse job fell apart. Before that, it was the food truck idea. Before that, a vape shop. Before that, I honestly could not remember anymore. There was always a new dream, a new plan, a new reason why this time would be different. But this presentation, it had spreadsheets. Actual financial projections. A business plan that looked almost professional. And then came the kicker. He slid the BMW title across the table. His pride and joy. That sleek black 2019 model he had saved up for years to buy. He was willing to put it up as collateral. He hesitated. My divorce had been finalized 2 years earlier, and for the first time in my adult life, money felt stable. Remote software development paid well, $117,000 annually, and I had no office politics to navigate, no daycare rush every morning. Harper and I had found our rhythm. But Ethan kept pushing. Family helps family, Vic. You know I am good for this. I just need one real shot. Against my better judgment, I agreed. We met with Lane Patterson downtown the following week. Lane was a private lender who specialized in small business loans, and he laid out terms that seemed reasonable. 5.5% interest. $1,400 monthly payment. Principal due in full after 5 years. The BMW title held as collateral with my name as co-signer. Ethan signed those documents faster than I had ever seen him move. The pen practically flew across the paper. I added my signature below his, feeling my heart hammering but telling myself this was the right thing to do. Family helps family. The dealership transferred the BMW title that same afternoon. Ethan drove away blasting his radio, waving like he had just won the lottery. For the first 6 months, everything ran smoothly. The automatic payments hit my account on schedule. $1,400 on the first of every month. No chasing, no excuses. Ethan texted me photos of progress. Shelves stocked with glazed pottery. Tourists posing with his pieces. A chalkboard menu advertising his desert bloom collection. His Instagram account grew to over 2,000 followers. He posted stories at midnight showing him working the kiln, clay caked under his fingernails, grinning like this was exactly where he belonged. I forwarded the payment receipts to Lane during our quarterly check-ins. Everything looked promising. Then the messages started slowing down. 1 month passed. 2 months. I called. Ethan blamed supply chain issues. Clay prices had supposedly doubled. Import delays from Mexico. Another month went by with no payment. I drove to Barrio Viejo unannounced one Thursday afternoon. The shop door was locked. Midday, prime tourist hours, and the lights were off. Dust had settled on the display bowls in the window. Ethan finally answered his phone from what sounded like a bar patio, his voice loose and relaxed. "Mark it slow, sis. You gotta give these things time to breathe." I reminded him about the BMW and the loan agreement. He actually laughed. "You are not seriously worried about that, are you?" Meanwhile, my parents' rent continued pulling from my checking account like clockwork. $1,300 every month. My father Vincent had diabetes that was eating through half their Social Security on medication alone. My mother Patricia still worked part-time scanning groceries at the Southside Fries just to keep food on their table. Their apartment stayed comfortable. Air conditioning running. Internet always on. Fridge always stocked. I kept telling myself it was temporary. Ethan would turn things around. The pottery business would take off. Everything would balance out eventually. My colleague Casey caught me during a virtual meeting one Thursday morning. We had been pair programming since the pandemic started, 2 single moms trading memes between coding sprints. She saw the payment alerts flashing across my shared screen. "You are bankrolling your entire family," she said, no sugarcoating. "That pottery shop is a black hole for your money." I brushed her off. Ethan was family. Family does not just abandon each other when things get tough. Casey just raised one eyebrow and muted her microphone. But her words stayed with me. Harper started asking why Uncle Ethan never visited anymore. I told her he was busy building something important. She nodded and went back to her woodworking projects, carving intricate designs into scrap wood she collected. The kiln in Barrio Viejo stayed cold. The shop stayed dark. Then came Ethan's birthday party. I made a reservation at El Charro, a nice restaurant where we could celebrate properly. But Ethan said he was too busy. That same afternoon, I saw photos on Facebook. He was having a private party at my parents' house. Harper saw the same post. She would not let it go. She clutched the wooden box she had been carving for 4 solid months, working on it every day after school. Ethan's name carved in bold letters across the top. Desert cacti etched along the sides. A hidden compartment inside secured by a tiny magnetic latch she had designed herself. "Mom, we have to go give it to him. He is family." Those words. He is family. The same words I had been using to justify everything for years. So we drove over. No invitation, but they were family, right? We did not need an invitation. We arrived at my parents' modest rental house with peeling paint and a chain-link fence. Cars lined the street. I could hear music and laughter from inside. Patricia opened the door with a glass of wine in her hand, eyebrows raised like she was surprised to see us standing there. "Oh, Victoria. We did not expect you." Harper stepped forward holding the wooden box carefully in both hands, wrapped in simple brown paper she had decorated with hand-drawn designs. "I made something for Uncle Ethan," she said, her voice bright with excitement. Patricia's smile looked tight. "Well, come in then. But just for a minute. We have other guests." The living room was packed. Neighbors, friends I did not recognize, a few of Ethan's old coworkers. Everyone holding drinks and paper plates loaded with food. And there in the center stood Ethan, holding court like a king, telling some exaggerated story that had everyone laughing. He saw us and his expression shifted. Annoyance. Like we had just crashed something private. Harper walked up to him, holding out the wrapped box with both hands. "Happy birthday, Uncle Ethan. I made this for you." The room got quieter. People turned to watch. Ethan took the box without even looking at Harper. He tore off the wrapping paper carelessly, letting it fall to the floor. He held up the wooden box, turned it over in his hands, examining it with a critical eye like he was some kind of expert appraiser. Then he said it. The words that changed everything. "Cheap, worthless garbage." And he threw it. Not tossed it aside. Threw it directly at Harper's face. She barely got her hands up in time. The box hit her palms and clattered to the floor, one of the corners splintering on impact. The room went silent. Everyone stared. Harper stood frozen, her eyes wide, her hands trembling. I looked at my parents. Vincent was leaning against the wall, a smirk playing at his lips. Patricia actually chuckled into her wine glass, like this was amusing dinner theater. Ethan shrugged. What? I am just being honest. The kid needs to learn that not everything she makes is special. I felt something inside me go perfectly, crystalline cold. Not hot anger. Cold calculation. I walked over, picked up the splintered box from the floor, and took Harper's hand. Her palm was scraped red where the corner had hit. Let's go, sweetheart. I did not yell. Did not argue. Did not demand an apology. I simply smiled at Ethan, wished him a happy birthday, kissed my parents on their cheeks, and walked out with Harper's hand in mine. In the car, Harper was silent. Tears ran down her face, but she did not make a sound. I am sorry, baby, I said quietly. That should never have happened. Why do they hate me? She whispered. They do not hate you. They just forgot what matters. That night, after Harper went to bed, I sat at my kitchen table with my laptop and a cup of coffee that went cold while I worked. I pulled up every document related to the loan, every payment record, every text message exchange with Ethan, every rent receipt for my parents. I made a spreadsheet. Not because I needed it for legal reasons, but because I needed to see it all laid out in front of me. The full scope of what I had been doing for years. $72,000 to Ethan, 18 months of missed payments totaling $25,200, 8 years of rent for my parents at $1,300 monthly. That was $124,800. Nearly $200,000 of my money, supporting people who just watched my daughter get humiliated and found it entertaining. I opened Lane Patterson's contact information and sent an email at 2 a.m. Subject line, loan default notification. 3 days later, I met Lane at a coffee shop downtown. He brought the original loan documents and the BMW title. Everything was in order. Ethan had missed 18 consecutive payments. Under the terms of the contract, I had full legal right to repossess the collateral. Are you sure about this? Lane asked, watching me carefully. Family situations can get complicated. I am completely sure. Lane made a call. By that afternoon, a tow truck arrived at Ethan's apartment complex. The BMW was gone before he even knew what was happening. Then I logged into my bank account and canceled the automatic rent transfer to my parents. 8 years of clockwork payments ended with 3 clicks. I sent a single text message to a family group chat that included Ethan, Vincent, and Patricia. The message was simple. Effective immediately, all financial support has ended. You are on your own now. Do not contact me. Then I blocked all 3 numbers. Ethan called from a different phone within an hour. I let it go to voicemail. He was screaming, cursing, threatening legal action. I saved the recording and deleted the message. Vincent tried my work email. The subject line read, "You will regret this." I forwarded it to HR as a potential threat and had my work contact information scrubbed from all public directories. For 2 weeks, silence. I took Harper to therapy. She talked about the birthday party, about feeling worthless, about wondering why her family treated her like she did not matter. The therapist was excellent. She helped Harper understand that the problem was not with her gift or her effort. The problem was with people who had forgotten how to value what really mattered. Harper started carving again. This time, she built a jewelry box for her best friend. She did not mention Ethan or my parents once. Then the messages started coming from numbers I did not recognize. Patricia had clearly given out my contact information to anyone who would listen. Your parents are struggling. You need to help them. Family does not abandon family. What kind of daughter are you? I blocked every single one. Casey called me during lunch one day, her voice urgent. Vic, your mom showed up at the office. What? Security has her at the front gate. She is holding a sign. Help your daughter. I closed my eyes, took a breath. Tell security she is not authorized. Have them escort her off the property and issue a trespass warning. Are you sure? Completely sure. Casey hesitated. Okay. I trust you. But Vic, this is getting intense. I know. Thank you for letting me know. That afternoon, I received an email from our company's head of security. Patricia Hayes had been escorted from the premises and formally banned from returning. Campus police had been notified. If she returned, she would face arrest for trespassing. The email included a photo from the security camera. My mother, standing at the gate, holding a piece of cardboard with black marker. Help your daughter and grandchild written in shaky letters. I saved the email and archived it. 2 days later, security called again. Patricia had returned, this time with Vincent. They both had signs. Same message, different handwriting. I authorized a formal trespass order copied to Tucson Police Department. Their photos were circulated to every security checkpoint on campus. Ethan tried reaching me through Facebook, Instagram, even LinkedIn. I blocked him everywhere. He created fake accounts. I reported them and had them removed. The pottery shop closed permanently. The landlord in Barrio Viejo filed eviction papers after 6 months of unpaid rent. Ethan's inventory was sold at auction to cover part of what he owed. The kiln, the display shelves, the hand-thrown bowls, all of it gone for pennies on the dollar. Without my rent payments, my parents could not afford their apartment. They received an eviction notice after 60 days. I heard through distant relatives that they moved into a weekly motel. Then Ethan's apartment also went into eviction. He was sleeping in his friend's living room, delivering for DoorDash in a beat-up Honda Civic because I had taken the BMW. My father's diabetes worsened without consistent medical care. He ended up in the emergency room with dangerously high blood sugar. The hospital social worker tried calling me as the listed emergency contact. I had my contact information updated to reflect that I was no longer available for family emergencies. Every time my resolve wavered, every time I thought about reaching out, I remembered Harper's face. The way she had held out that wooden box with such hope and pride. The way Ethan had thrown it at her. The way my parents had laughed. And I remembered that I had a daughter to protect. A daughter who needed to learn that you do not accept disrespect, even from family. Especially from family. Casey checked on me regularly. How are you holding up? Honestly, I feel lighter. Like I have been carrying weight I did not know was crushing me. She smiled. Good. You deserve peace. 6 months after I cut them off, I heard that my parents were living in their car. The weekly motel became too expensive. They parked overnight in Walmart parking lots, rotating between 3 different locations to avoid being asked to leave. Vincent's diabetes medication became sporadic. Patricia picked up a job at a dollar store, but it barely covered gas and food. Ethan was still delivering food, still driving that dying Civic, still posting occasional social media updates that painted him as the victim of a cruel, heartless sister. I never responded. Never engaged. Never explained myself publicly. 1 year after that birthday party, a handwritten letter arrived. The envelope was postmarked Tucson with no return address. My name scrolled across the front in shaky blue ink I recognized as Ethan's handwriting. Inside were 3 pages torn from a yellow legal pad, creased and stained with what looked like coffee rings. Vic, I was wrong about everything. The shop, the money, the way I treated Harper. I took you for granted, and I see that now. That's diabetes has gotten worse. The doctors say he might need an amputation below the knee if we cannot afford to see a specialist. I am asking you, please. One last chance. Forgive me. I read it at my kitchen island while morning light slanted through new blinds in our new house. Harper sat across from me, now 16 years old, her hair longer, her voice steadier and more confident than I had heard in years. She glanced at the pages. Uncle Ethan. I nodded. Harper pushed her cereal bowl away and waited, watching me carefully. I folded the letter once, slid it back into the envelope, and placed it in the trash bin under yesterday's coffee grounds. That afternoon, I drafted a single postcard. Plain white. No picture. I wrote 8 words in clear block letters. We are no longer family. Do not contact us. I mailed it from the corner post office. No return address. No signature. Just a postmark. Ethan never replied. We had moved 3 months earlier to a quiet subdivision north of the city. Adobe walls. Citrus trees in the backyard. A new build with 2 stories and Harper's bedroom overlooking the Catalina mountain foothills. I changed every phone number. Work extensions. Even the veterinarian for the cat we had adopted. Our forwarding service expired after 90 days. Old emails bounced back. Social media profiles set to maximum privacy, connection severed. Harper thrived in the new space. She set up a woodworking bench in the garage with power tools she bought using her own birthday savings. She built a cedar jewelry box for her best friend with dovetail joints and a hidden compartment. She entered it in the county fair and took 2nd place. The blue ribbon hung on our mantle. Her therapy sessions ended after 6 months. The counselor signed off with a note, resilient, healthy boundaries established. I advanced at work. Senior engineer position with flexible hours and stock options that vested over time. Casey and I co-hosted virtual game nights with our kids building Lego creations in the background. No more HR incidents. No more security alerts. No more gate photos. Rumors filtered through distant cousins occasionally. Ethan still delivering in that falling apart Civic. My parents rotating between different weekly motels, surviving on food stamps. Vincent's foot was saved by a charity clinic, but he had lost 2 toes and walked with assistance now. Patricia worked at a dollar store with a crooked name tag. No one attempted contact after that postcard. Harper asked me once during a hike up Sabino Canyon, water bottle in hand, trail dust on her sneakers. "Do you miss them?" I thought about the splintered wooden box. The pounding on doors and gates. The cardboard signs. The years of being treated like an ATM machine that never ran out of cash. "I miss who I thought they were," I said honestly. "Not who they actually are." Harper nodded, adjusted her backpack, and kept walking. The sun dipped behind the mountains, painting the sky in shades of orange and deep purple. We walked in comfortable silence, and I realized something profound. Peace was not dramatic. It was not a big confrontation or a satisfying moment of revenge where everyone realizes they were wrong. Peace was quiet mornings without automatic bank transfers draining my account. Peace was no midnight knocks on the door demanding money. Peace was watching Harper laugh freely in a house where she felt safe and valued. Family is not supposed to be a bank. Blood relation does not entitle anyone to endless withdrawals from your life, your energy, your money, or your peace. When you finally stop giving, when you finally establish boundaries and enforce them, the masks fall away. You see clearly who stayed because they loved you, and who stayed because you were convenient. We built a smaller circle after cutting them off. But it was tighter. More real. More genuine. Harper's laughter echoed through our new house, power tools humming in the garage as she worked on her next project. We had friends who actually showed up. We had stability. We had respect. The lesson stuck deep in both of us. Protect your peace the way you would protect anything valuable. Test your boundaries like you test code before deployment. Make your changes and commit them fully. Deploy without regret. Some people will call you cold. They will say blood is thicker than water, and family should forgive anything. But they are wrong. The full quote is the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. The relationships you choose, the bonds you build through mutual respect and genuine care, those matter more than biology ever will. I chose Harper. I chose peace. I chose a life where my value was not measured by my bank account balance. And I have never, not even for one single moment, regretted that choice. If your family treats you like an ATM, if they take and never give anything back, if they disrespect you and expect you to keep funding their lives anyway, let me tell you something important. You do not owe them endless chances. You do not owe them your financial security. You do not owe them access to your peace. Cut the cord. Protect yourself. Protect the people who actually matter. And do not look back. Because the people who truly love you will never make you choose between your peace and their presence. They will never humiliate your child and laugh about it. They will never treat you like a resource to be exploited. Harper is 17 now, applying to colleges with stellar grades and a portfolio of woodworking projects that make her stand out. She is confident. She is kind. She knows her worth. And she learned the most important lesson I could ever teach her. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away. Sometimes protecting yourself is not selfish. Sometimes saying no is the most loving thing you can do for yourself and the people you truly care about. Ethan lost his business, his car, his apartment, and his safety net, all because he thought throwing a wooden box at a child was acceptable behavior. My parents lost their daughter, their grandchild, their financial support, all because they thought watching that happen and laughing about it was appropriate. They made their choices. You made mine. I regret nothing. If you made it this far, thank you for listening to my story. If this resonated with you, if you have been in a similar situation or know someone who has, please share this. Sometimes people need to hear that it is okay to protect yourself, even from family. Especially from family. Subscribe for more real stories about setting boundaries, protecting peace, and choosing yourself when everyone else expects you to keep sacrificing. Remember, you are not an ATM. You are a human being who deserves respect, kindness, and genuine love. Do not settle for less. Not from anyone, not even from blood. The end.